have the time, we have the light goals. Small little. Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, there's how many? That's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, so welcome everyone, welcome. And so be starting now. We have only 3 hours left. And I had an appointment which I had to go. It was an emergency, and so it went well, and I'm back. So we are starting now. Welcome, welcome, welcome to everyone that has joined and everyone that has been working before I joined. So let's see how much you can achieve within these 3 hours. I didn't want to miss these 3 hours because during this time I use it to achieve a lot. I use it to get structure to my day, because most times what makes people not to achieve much is because they didn't have a plan and they didn't have any structure in place waiting. So it's easy to just give up when you have other things doing. Maybe it's cold, maybe you have other things that will take your time. But if you have this routine, it's just good you maintain simple routine like we are doing now, and giving it 12 hours every week compulsorily is just like giving yourself the accountability you need, and it's quite important to me and to everyone that needs structure, everyone that is struggling with managing your time, managing your energy, managing your focus, and you want to be productive. You still want to survive in this era, in this digital era, in this busy time. You still want to achieve all that you want to achieve and not be too stressed. Then this is the place for you. So you can join me. We are starting now. So when we start now, it's going to run till 4 p.m. today. So that is how long it's going to get. So by 1:50 we're gonna break, 2:50 gonna break, then 3:50 or 4, then we close. That is just 3 hours. So I'll make the 3 hours count, and I want it to be a very productive time for all of us. So let's reduce distraction during the time that we are not chatting. And remember that during the break time that we take our break serious, so we go on a mindful break, then we can chat, we can walk around. Those ones are that's the time that we get to interact with others, to connect with others. Then during the deep work time, which is 15 minutes each 1 hour, so that time I expect you to do the work that brought you to this space. If you are reading, then do the reading, and remember that you should read actively. That means you should try the recall system, try all those other study methods that I've been teaching here, and that will improve your efficiency, that will improve your speed of learning. So it's very important to us that you concentrate, that you focus on the thing that brought you. And during this deep work time, the 15 minutes, please minimize every distraction, and you can put in the chat what you want to ask us. Like yesterday we were discussing about improving yourself, how to study, how to set your priority right, and then it was all about not paying people to do the job that you should have done yourself in order to improve yourself, because in the long run it pays off, it pays better than whatever you think you are getting now. So let's just see how much you can achieve. We have very short time, which is just 3 hours, and the 3 hours, is not all about work. It's the Pomodoro section 50-10. So we are doing 50 minutes of sprint time and then 10 minutes of mindful break. So let's use it judiciously, let's use it well, and be efficient in our job and achieve what we can. For me today, I believe that these 3 hours is what it is, not worth wasting, because I just came back from the appointment. Yeah, it would be like you should rest today now. But yes, I'm accountable to myself and to the people that join me in this space. So you're welcome, and for all your support, I will say welcome. And please, if you haven't joined us before, this is your first time, I will encourage you to introduce yourself and let us know what you're working on. Let us know what you want us to talk about. If there is any discussion you want us to talk about around academics, around work life, that is all acceptable in this space. But we have only one rule that we abide by in this space: be kind with your words and be respectful to all. It's very important to us. So let's talk again once it's 1:50. Yeah, so it's our break time now. It's time for us to take a mindful break. And remember to take your break. And like yesterday, during the break time, we discuss if there is anything in the chat that we have to discuss. And remember that our break only lasts for 10 minutes, and it's enough for you to go for a stretch, for a walk, for maybe meditation and rest. It's quite important that you take your break. What we have all learned is how to walk. We've learned how to study, how to put in the effort. But I think many people think that rest is something that they take only when they are exhausted, or maybe as a reward for the hard work or the results they got. No, rest is very important. So take your rest serious. I want you to take your rest serious and plan your rest. You ask yourself, what is the importance of rest? Is it really that good to rest? Is it something that I must do? Yes, you must do it if you want to be efficient, if you want to achieve a lot, if you want to improve, because you are the most important aspect of your productivity, of your results. So you need to take care of yourself. So you take care of your thinking, you take care of everything that concerns you from that work. When you rest, you gain clarity. When you rest, you'll be able to work better. Every employer would like you to rest. They want you to take short breaks in between if they are really reasonable, because most times if you're exhausted, it might lead to so many things. The easiest will be making mistake, which might be costly to them. And the worst of it is now when your body takes a break on you, you know what that means. So let's not take it for granted. If you are still strong, rest. You don't rest because you're tired. You rest because you need it to keep going. You need it to continue working. So take your rest serious. If you have started a new work and you don't know when you should go on a break, then you need to ask your manager when is the break time. So you take the break and let them know, people around you, let them know that yes, that you take your break serious. So we are talking about uh, people that are in school. If you're in school to improve yourself, then this is the time for you to equip yourself with all the knowledge that you have gone there to get from the teachers, from the other fellow students, from the library. So make use of those resources and the time that you have, because there will be a time, like many adults now, when you ask, they will say, oh, I don't have time. And why don't they have time? Because they have so much responsibilities. So if you are still young, or maybe you have seen somebody that can take care of things for you, and you have the opportunity to read, please take it and take it serious. You have the opportunity to go and learn a trade, to learn a skill, then take it serious. It's very important. What you should never do is to pay anybody to write for you, to pay anybody to do any of those things. Maybe you were learning a skill and your master said, oh, can you produce this? Then you go pay someone to do it. No, you have cheated yourself big time. And I will explain how. Because that time you are spending, you've wasted it. Again, you're wasting your money, because the person that will do it, you paid, and that is the money that you would have used to pay people to teach you, so you have that knowledge within yourself. And let me now start explaining what happens if you find yourself in such situation. Maybe you have been paying people to write exam, assignment, or whatever for you, and you think that yes, this result is all that you need. You will find out later in life that no, the result wasn't what you really needed. What you needed most was the knowledge, was the technical know-how, was the skill itself. It wasn't the paper. It only comes later in life. You see people, they are struggling, they are dodgy, they are avoiding responsibility. They don't want to ever be called out to do or to head at it, and from there you see them losing opportunities that they shouldn't have. So what you have lost first is the competence, which is what you went there to do. So if you find yourself in school, you find yourself in a trade, you find yourself in a place that you have to learn a skill, please do it with all diligence. Make sure that you invest your time and yourself to it. It's very important, because once you start, should I say, subletting it and subcontracting it and subgiving it to people to do for you, what you have lost is the competence. Because how do we get the competence that we need? It is by doing it. When you know that yes, you can do this, the competence comes as you are doing it. You are competent. Yeah. Are you competent? Can you analyze this? Can you do this? You say yes, I can do it. it. So you are growing your competency, you see. But if you start giving people to do it for you, you have lost that competence, you've lost that time that you would have used to develop yourself. So that is one thing that you've lost. But another thing that is quite important to me, I don't know for others, is the confidence that you will lose by doing that. Because once you give it to people to do for you, you're already telling yourself, you know, you can't cope, you know, you can't do this, you know that this is not what you can manage. And from there, you be second guessing yourself. From there, you start doubting yourself. From there, you start thinking, oh, maybe I'm not cut out for this. So you are losing the confidence in yourself. That is when you see people, they will call them, oh, can you do this? The person is avoiding every opportunity to grow. You avoid every opportunity to move forward, to take exam. You don't want to, because you know that the foundation already is cracked, and once the foundation is cracked, it's very, very difficult to build on such soil. It's very, very difficult to build on such building. So it's good that you give yourself that foundation. Are you in school, an undergraduate? Are you in school doing your masters? You know, I always emphasize on these two stages: your undergraduate and your master's time. That is the time you have to learn. That is the time you have to master whatever that you have to be a master of. You want to be a specialist in this and that, then during your masters, they expect you to be a master of that subject, a master of that field. So don't trade it for anything. Don't give it away for anything. You know, many people, they think, oh, I just need this certificate, and then once I get once I get the work is okay. You will get that work, then you find out that you need the knowledge you got from that school to do the work. You need the knowledge to take exams, to gain the promotion, to write papers, to do whatever it takes to grow on that job. And those things are only developed when you were in school. So what if you paid people to do the writing for you, and now they say, oh, you must you must publish, you must write to grow? Then what happens? Which means you've lost that opportunity. And please don't lose it. Don't pay anybody that is collecting money from you in order to write your homework, your assignment, to do your project, your thesis for you. They are not doing you any good. In fact, they are harming your future. This, it might look simple earlier, but once it gets to the time of your promotion, 3 years into work, 4 years into, then you understand what you've done to yourself. So don't do it. But another thing, you know, people, when I once asked a friend, whenever it is time to go into the exam hall, she will say, oh, I know, I don't need to sit close to you because I can't even follow, I won't even see what you're writing. And yeah, but I will teach when we are not writing the exam. And I took my time to ask, why do you always want to look at what others are doing? Say, "Eh, because you know you can do it." Because that's first and foremost, she has lost the confidence in herself. Then another thing that happened is because, I don't know, they think that certificate is all that they need to do what they want. Then you get the certificate, you gain the second class upper, you gain, I don't know if they have been able to use whatever they're using to gain the first class or whatever now. And now you start working, and they want to test you, because once every certificate you have, you defend it till the day you stop working, whether you like it or not, unless you employ yourself, unless you just keep that certificate and start doing other things that is not from the certificate. But if you're using it, you're going to be defending it one way or the other. So do yourself that good to grow your confidence. Your confidence comes from you knowing that you can do it. So how do you know you can do it if you haven't tried? How do you know that, yes, you can't do it if you haven't tried? So give yourself that, should I say, the opportunity to try, to fail. Is give yourself the opportunity to try, to pass. Give yourself the opportunity to try and see what you can do. Then you can see what you need to improve on. It's very, very important. So we are on our break, like every other break. We have 10 minutes of break. So remember to rest, remember to walk around, remember to take your break serious. So we are back to our sprint time. During the sprint time, remember that you need to focus on the work that brought you here. You need to take your priority task serious. You just need to tell your brain that you work for 15 minutes, then you are getting 10 minutes of break. And yes, your brain will do better. it will do well. So that is how we work here. It gives you structure. So if you haven't been joining us as a student, as a researcher, please do, from any platform that you are in, just join. It's very important to us that yes, people learn to improve themselves, people learn to refocus, you learn to improve your memory. That is quite important to us. So let's see how much you can achieve in the next 50 minutes, which will be happening from now till 12:50. Then by 12:50, if there is anything in the chat that you want us to discuss, then we'll discuss it. You can put it there, you can ask questions, you can just whatever it is around academics, around studies, around um, writing, just ask questions. Then you might be surprised the answers you receive. And I wish you a very productive 50 minutes from now. So it's our break time once again. You can go on a break. And so if you are with us, it's time for you to go on a break. So we're on our break now. It's time for us to rest, relax, If there is anything you want to ask, oh, Mama Beauty, you are here. Welcome, so welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah. Hmm. Oh dear. Yeah. Thank you for your support. Yes, we are on our break. It's time for us to stretch, to rest if you want, and walk around if you want. So we are discussing what we could do to improve ourselves, how to study, how to uh, learn and improve our memory in general. Is very important, not only to students today. Today is for everyone, because you will need your memory working well. You will need your brain working for you to remember things even in old age. I think that should be the pride of every human being. So it's important that you exercise your mind, you exercise your brain each time. It's not something that you do like you are going to the gym. It's just a gentle exercise trying to remind yourself that you need to think. Is very important, because now we have so many things that are thinking for us. We have so much gadgets, we have so much technology that you just need to ask a question and you will receive an answer. It's quite easy to go that way, and that has been affecting people. Should I say slowly? It's very creepy. Like, let me just take an example of one of my findings during my PhD. When we went for, it was just an, we call it emergence in system thinking, because these are the things you never expected to be one of the problems, one of the things that you never expected to be one of the results, but it became a major thing that came out of the research. When we were asking what has changed in the food system, what people were like, people were talking about hunger. Some even talked about the taste of food changing and so many things going on. But what really stood out when it started coming out was the erosion of knowledge, where people are now forgetting how they used to do things, how they used to plant, how they used to process food, and even those technologies are going, because many people are living that era and they think it's not important. So that was one of the major things that came out of it. And when you apply it, I think that also brought the consciousness to me that people are really not taking cognizance of what is happening, because the erosion happens slowly, goes very slowly, that people are not taking account of it. You wouldn't know that, yes, you are no longer thinking like you used to. You don't know that now you depend on your calculator and your phone deeply to calculate things. You bought something from the supermarket, you're waiting for them to calculate it to tell you the change or the balance. You are no longer using your mind like you used to try to think, to calculate and say, okay, this is my change. Yeah, okay, now I bought something of £10. Out of this, please give me this is my change. That we are no longer even taking cognizance of that even spellings we need to consult even before we think, do we know this? We go straight to the phone. Please, Alexa, please, phone, Google, please, what is this? And Google will just let you know what it is and spell it out. The more you do that, you are training your brain to rest. You are training your brain to not think. And that is not healthy for you. So you need to consult yourself each time. So I'll just be talking about the gentle exercises that we'll be doing. If we don't finish it now, then during the time we are going to be wrapping up, I'll be talking about that. It's very important that we take cognizance of what is happening, and we know memory problem is not something anybody wants to face. So you need to give your memory a gentle exercise each day, trying to remind yourself of what you've been doing, trying to remember what has gone on in your life, maybe the past 1 hour, the past day. Okay, what did I do yesterday? And you try to give accounts. A mind map of it is very important. So I'll be talking about such things that you can do each day, which they are very gentle and they keep you thinking. They keep your memory sound. They keep you healthy. So you keep yourself healthy even in old age, you can think, you can remember your friends, you can remember things. It's very important that we don't depend on these technologies as if they are our mental crutches. They are not crutches, they are just tools that you can use to solve your problems. So use them as tools. Consult yourself first. Know if you know what you want to go and check. Are you trying to spell like you want to spell cognizance, such words? You'll be thinking, is it Z, is it S, or is this American? First, consult your brain. Try to write it down. Try to see if you can before you start going to check it out. Stop second guessing yourself to the extent you no longer consult yourself. You just go straight to the technology because you know it is always right. No, you are better. Your brain is far better than that, and your brain can also be retrained. So that is what we will be talking about the next break. And during that next break, which will be happening 4 on the dot, I will take time to talk about how we can exercise our brain gently, the things that we can do each day to keep active, to keep remembering, to keep our active recall going, because that is the main thing when it comes to your memory. And we've started our deep work hour now, our deep work hour. Yes, this is the last one, so it's 1 hour. So I wish you a very productive 1 hour from now, and I want you to invite as many people that you know that they are conscious of their thinking, and maybe as many people. Please, it will just take us during that time. It might be just 10 to 15 minutes to go through that. So I want you to be part of it. So let's go and see how much you achieve in this last 1 hour. Yeah, so we've come to the end of today's section, and yeah, so it has been a good day, really. So today's topic that I want us to conclude with, because it's just a wrapping up session. If you have any question, you can put it there. Today we are looking at how to improve our memory in general. That's for everyone. It's not only for students or for researchers, but for everyone that values their memory. You can just come close. So let's look at how many ways and the things that we can do. Like I said, it's not all about it's not like trying to solve the hard puzzles, all those brain tests that they have to put you through in order to see if your memory. That is not where I'm going to. I'm looking at the gentle exercises, the things that we do every day. But one thing we should uh, bear in mind, as the starting point and the most encouraging point in all this, is that bear it in mind that your memory is not broken. So I want you to invite as many people that can listen. It's not going to be long. It will not take more than 10 minutes, no matter what, because I also need to take a break. Yeah, so we'll just talk with maybe 10 minutes, unless there is someone that's asking questions. So we are looking at our memory, our ability to recall, our ability to remember things, and our ability to retrieve information when we need it. Like I always say, it's not all about the storage, it's not all about the ability to record it. You also need to look at how you encode information. How do you get the information that you want to record? So we are going to look at all this and look at the things that you can do each day, the things that you can implement to improve your memory. These are the things that every human being, every one of us should be doing now, because it's very important in this era of easy answers. Because during this time, this age of easy answers, it's easy for you to consult your technology. You have your phone every day with you and almost everywhere. So you can always ask your phone or just type in and get answers. So it's quite easy without effort. So, and one thing you should know is that when you have these easy answers, you are telling your brain that, oh, you should relax, and your brain is relaxed. So remember that the muscles that you are not using is definitely going to degenerate, is going to weaken. So your muscle, once you're not using it, it will stop thinking, bothering itself. And that struggle that you go through when you want to remember something, when you want to remember the spelling, when you want to remember your balance after buying things, is a way of training your brain nerves. It's a way of training your brain muscles. It's very important. So I want us to look at that as an exercise each day. So how much have you been able to think? Have you been consulting your brain before consulting the outside source? So let's look at the things that we can do. How our brain works. Our brain is not only there to retrieve information, and there is a way that our brain solve information. So memory is strengthened through three processes. The first one is attention, the second one is encoding, and the third one is retrieval, which we are going to tell you which is important and how you do that. Your attention, when you pay attention, whatever you pay attention to is what you're going to remember. If you don't pay attention, then you won't remember it. And when we talk about your attention, like I always say, pay attention, be present. It means that you should be present. There is no distraction. It means that your full presence is there. It's not like listening to someone when you are trying to reply a message. You are listening to someone when you are trying to do other things, when you are thinking other things in your mind, and you are just present there, but your mind is not there. So you need to pay attention, which means you should not be distracted at that point in time. So we also look at the encoding, how we encode information. Encoding information is not just listening to me as you're listening now, or maybe seeing the letters, or maybe seeing the videos. It also entails you attaching emotion to it, is also attaching meaning to what you have seen or read, and also looking at the structure. Okay, you're looking at this, maybe you saw a picture, it's okay, this one looks different from the other one. You are trying to attach structure to it. You are trying to attach a meaning to whatever you are seeing. So you are trying to also attach emotion when you see it. Once you're emotionally attached to that, and you are telling your brain that this matters. So that's the encoding process. So it's not all about just reading. There is a difference between you reading newspaper, reading novels, reading and studying maybe for what you are going to apply in real life. So these are different things. These are different levels of reading. So when you are encoding information, try as much as possible to ask questions, try as much as possible to get meaning, to give meaning to what you are listening to or you are learning. You need to also maybe look at the emotional part of it. And once you attach it and give it structure, it is easier for you to remember these things. Another one is the retrieval. This is the process of recalling information without prompts. You don't need to be prompted. Oh, they will tell you, okay, can you spell egg? You know, there is a G at the end. Okay, well, there is an E. Those are like prompting. Without prompting, so you remember, you recall information, you retrieve it. So these are the ways that our brain are strengthened. So you look at the encoding, you look at the retrieval, you look at the attention part of it. And most importantly, in this era, what is really a problem is the attention. People's attention is being divided, is being dragged all over. You have so much information, you have so much things that are competing for your attention, and now they've given you easy answers which you have in your palms, you have on your tables. You can consult your phone, your laptop, your desktop, whatever, and you just have the easy answer. Some of us even have what do they call that one, Alexa. You can just stand up and say, oh Alexa, what's today? And Alexa will let you know. You don't even need to think, oh, what day of the week is this? You just need to ask Alexa in the morning, what day is today? Oh, today is Thursday, the date of this. And those are the ways we use to exercise our memory. We use to exercise our brain, which is important. So let's look at practical and gentle exercises that can strengthen our memory, things that we can do to strengthen our memory. One of them is to practice recall, not recognition. You know, you can recognize things easily and say, okay, this is a pencil, this is this. But when it comes to recall, it takes a little more effort, because you need to remember things about that. So you try to bring it out. You try to pull it out from your mind. So you read and listen to short sections. You choose book, then you close it and try to find out, okay, what is the core information in this? What is the main idea in this? Okay, what are the 3 or 5 things that I have to take away from this passage that I've read, or from the lecture that I've just listened to? So this is just what you have to try each day. You try after having a discussion with people. You mustn't go to the class, you mustn't be in a training for you to do it. Maybe you had a discussion, maybe you read something. You just have to put a stop at a time and say, okay, what is the main message in this? So you practice your recall, not just recognition. You can actually recognize each time that, yes, I read a book, I read a newspaper. That's just the recognition. But what, when you start asking questions like, what is the main idea in this? What is the key thing that I can take home from this? They take home from this passage. So you start recalling, which means you need to pull it from your brain. And when you pull it from your brain, you are exercising your brain. So this is one of the most the strongest, one of the strongest ways of strengthening your memory. Is very important. So at this point in time, accuracy is not important. It's just you trying to get it, making that effort to recall, that effort to pull it out. You are telling your brain that this matters. You are strengthening your brain neurons. You are strengthening the pathways, telling them that this matters. Okay, when I put things, I want it out. So if you don't pull it out, you are going to lose it most times. If you don't, that's how the brain works. If you don't pull it out, most times you are going to be losing it. So try as much as possible to recall, to try and remember things that you read. What are the key things that I should take on from this? What is the main subject? What is the main topic? What is this all about? So when you ask those questions, you are trying to recall. It's no longer just recognition. So you're trying to pull it out. It's very important. So another one that you should also practice. The first one I said is the one we just discussed now, is the recall. The next one is delayed answer. Just delay the answer. You need to delay it. It mustn't be instant. Most times we want instant answer. That is why we have all gone to this easy answer without even thinking. So delay is sometimes when you ask questions, maybe you delay and think maybe 60 to 120 seconds, 60 to 90 seconds, and then you reason it out, then you recall it first, then you check if the answer is, then that struggle you are going through in order to bring out that answer, that is the exercise that your brain actually needs to keep your memory working. It's telling your memory that yes, you don't need to sleep, you need to be active, you need to bring things out. So you need to think it. You need to give yourself time to think it and struggle. Okay, when they ask what happened on the 25th of December, the last 25th of December, instead of just going back to the diary or maybe to your app to check what happened, or maybe to ask Google what really happened, what big thing really happened. Try and reason it in your mind. Try and struggle to bring out things that you remember. That is the way to strengthen it. That is the way to exercise your memory. It's quite important. So the next one that you can do is to explain it simply. It's just is This one is also applicable to students. I will always tell you, if you can't teach it simply, you will not understand it deeply. So try as much as possible to explain it simply. If you can explain it simply, you understand it deeply. That is how it works. So try to explain to yourself in simple terms what those things are. You try to explain to a child what those things are. So when you explain it, you are trying to you're exercising your memory. So if you explain it simply, it stores deeply. If not, it will go. That is just how it is. You don't need to you don't need to think about it anymore harder. Once you can explain it, once you can teach it, you understand it deeply. Another way of improving your memory is to use multi-sense encoding, multiple ways of learning. You can say it, maybe you read it aloud if it's important. Like most times, if you are doing proofreading and you are the one that wrote that, and it's quite important that you read aloud. Because if you don't read aloud, most times you will still be missing some things because they are all written in your mind, but no, they are not in that paper. So you read aloud. Then another way of doing it is to write. You can write with your hands. I didn't say type this time, write with your hands. You don't need to write verbatim everything that you read or everything that you've seen. You can write the key point, but make sure that you're using your hands to write, because all these motor sensory, all these other pathways, when you implement them, it's going to remind your brain what really happened at that point in time. So another thing that you can do is to maybe stand up as you're walking around. You try to say it again, you try to write it again, you go around, you come out, you see things, you try to relate it. So this multi-sense encoding is quite important. So you can add your voice, you're walking, you're writing, you're singing, whatever. So you put it together to help you remember things. And another thing is for us to, it's very tempting during this era to keep gathering information, to keep gathering. And some of us, we don't know when to stop. Even in research, we keep gathering information. Because you see, even as we are sitting here, new findings are being published. So you can't get it all out. Try as much as possible to read less most times and read deeper. So when you at a time, just put a time, you say it's complete, this search is complete, and then you start reading it little by little and read it deeply, read shorter sections, then pause after each paragraph. You can just ask yourself, what is the main idea in this? So instead of scrolling, because it's the same thing that happens, you see people, they want to know all the information about this. Okay, they see this, they keep scrolling and going on and on and on, without any deep meaning in it. That is not helping your brain. Depth builds durable memory. Volume does not. It's not how much information that you put into your brain that matters. It's the depth itself that matters. And this depth, you can actually get it after you have processed the information you've gathered, which happens when you are resting. So you don't need to keep searching. You don't need to keep piling it up. The more you pile it up, the more you exhaust your brain. Another thing that you can use is space repetition. Space repetition is quite important, especially to students, those that are preparing for exam. If you practice space repetition, then definitely you are preparing. How do you do that? Is for you to, after studying, you give yourself time. Maybe today, after the study, you just did it for 5 minutes, you revise. After that, you close it. Don't keep going on and on, even though you don't remember them all. By tomorrow, try to recall what you read. Even if you can, then try it again, read again for 3 minutes, then close it. Then try to recall what you did. That is the space repetition, and it strengthens your pathway, strengthens that short space review at perform long sections. That is what people don't know. Because once you keep going, sometimes you'll be frustrated. You think, oh, my brain is not working. Oh, I can't remember it. And you are struggling. So your memory is quite important. Do as do these little gentle exercises to keep your memory sharp and working even in old age is very important. So don't outsource your brain, don't outsource your thinking. It's not good for you. And we are talking about how to improve our memory. That is what I've put there for some weeks now, and I thought people are going to be asking questions like, how do I improve my memory? Our memory is something is not really right, if we must say the truth. You see, when you can't even think deeply, any little thing you want to consult your phone, then you should think about it. So let's also look at another thing that we can do is to create meaningful connections. When you connect what you've seen to what you already know and you associate it, your brain will remember story easily. That is one thing we should know. That is why they teach children with stories. Your brain remembers stories. So you can you can link things that you are learning to stories that you know, or maybe tell it as a story. Your brain also remember images faster than letters. It remembers emotion. The emotional thing is something that every one of us should know. So if you can connect what you learn to one emotional situation that you've seen, you won't forget it. There are sometimes you will study and study and study, you can forget those things that you were struggling to remember. But if there is anything that made you so happy, it's hard for you to forget it. And especially if there is anything that made you so embarrassing, you might not forget it in life because it is attached to emotion. So try as much as possible to associate what new things that you are learning to things that you already have, to things that you are trying to things that maybe you've seen emotional. You won't forget it, and that is going to make it to stick. Instead of memorizing, just try and the truth, bring it to freedom. Imagine chains, imagine connections between what you know and what you are learning is very important. So another way you can improve your memory, I'm just talking about the gentle exercises, because our memory is just this brain that needs gentle exercises. It's not like you're going to do a marathon. It's not like you're going to be doing the hard puzzles. That is not where we are going. We are going through the things that you do daily, things that you can do as a habit. You can form it as a habit to keep your brain working, to keep your thinking working. Is very important. So you can speak what you want, or speak what you want to remember, things that you want to remember. Say it. Once you say it, you will remember it easily. Sometimes you can read and read, you think you know it. Close that your book and see if you can say those things that you remember. If you can't say it, then you can go back, check on those things, check what you did not remember. Close your book. If you can say it, then it's going to stick. It's quite easy. So you summarize, maybe after your day's work, you come back home, summarize what you've done. Just you can say it aloud. Okay, I was here around 9 a.m. I was there at 10 a.m. What was I doing by 11? All those, say it aloud. That is the way to keep your memory working. And there are things that we shouldn't ever do that is affecting our memory, like depending on these external sources. And I mean, they are very helpful, they are good, like your AI, like your Google, like your Alexa. Those things are very, very important. They are helpful. But remember one thing and bear it in mind, that those things are just but a tool. They are not a replacement for your brain. They are not a replacement for human thinking, for human ingenuity, for human, should I say, our special way of making things unique. It comes from the brain. It's not from those things. Those things are programmed. And now I want to also let you know that your brain is really very good. It's something that you can retrain. It's something that can improve. You can improve it. So it's not like if you have lost it, maybe now whenever you want to calculate your 2 minus 1, you go to your computer, that you go to your calculator, that if you start retraining your brain, that you won't go back to just remembering it. You can do it. That is how wonderful human brains are. So one of the memory killers is our outsourcing of our thinking. When you outsource your thinking to AI, you outsource your thinking to computers, to calculators, you are not doing yourself any good. Let me explain. Like now, maybe if you haven't noticed, when you go out, you meet people, just ask them little questions like, oh, please, if I spend this amount, how much do you think I should get as change? Just look at their reaction. I'm not talking about looking at their listening to their answers. Their reaction, most people would straight go to their phones in order to calculate it instead of consulting themselves first. So now the first rule I want you to take home is that you should think first, consult yourself first, then second you search. If you consult yourself first and then you have searched in your brain, you search, you can't remember it, that's the only time you're allowed to go and then search for it. But don't go searching first before consulting yourself. That is not helpful to you. So try as much as possible. Each time you want to remember a spelling, you want to remember how much change you have, you want to remember what happened yesterday, try and consult yourself first. When you consult yourself, then if you remember it, good. If you can't remember it, there is nothing to be ashamed of at that point in time. It is still an exercise. You are still exercising your brain. You are still trying to pull out what you know, and your brain is getting active. So you are doing really well. But first and foremost, consult yourself. After consulting yourself, then you can go straight to looking at the calculator, your phone, and other sources where you can get the answer. But don't, in every question, don't go straight to Google, don't go straight to AI. Go straight to your brain first. Go straight to your brain. That is the first rule I want you to get home. So the thing is that at this point in time, you're wrong. Whether it is wrong or right, what you get out of your brain, it doesn't matter. You are strengthening your brain. So the second thing is that you should avoid multitasking when you are doing a deep learning, when you are doing something that you want to remember deeply, something that you don't ever want to forget. Let it not be that you are trying to listen to that note, you are trying to solve that mathematics equation, and you are trying to respond to somebody's message. That is very distracting. You know, so many people say, oh, I can multitask. Yeah, you can multitask in mundane things, but when it comes to deep learning, when it comes to deep thinking, then you will need all the concentration, your focus, you need it to do it. So multitasking, when you are studying, don't scroll. When you are learning, notifications, switch it off. And when you are listening, please avoid distraction. As much as possible, avoid distraction is helpful. So don't rely only on highlighted things and all those things, like things that stood out. Try to remember things that also happened around those things that stood out. Maybe you went out and you saw something that maybe something big really happened. Try as much as possible to reason, what are the things, are there other things that happened around that place? Are there people that were there that I haven't seen before? Those things that are not highlighted, that is also a way of training your memory. It's very important. Another thing that you should do is to conserve, to protect your brain strength. And how do you do it? Is to not binge on information. Like I said earlier, some of us, we binge on information, we watch too much content, we scroll too much, we do so many things. You know, skimming, that's another thing. You know, when we were growing, what was a problem was skimming through. If you give some people some things to read, they will just skim through it and they want to get the answers right. Skimming is just should I say, it's another way. If I should put it, maybe now it's like scrolling. People now scrolling through the social media, they keep scrolling. All they are doing is also skimming. All they are doing is also scrolling. They are not putting any thoughts to it. There is no deep thinking, no deep thoughts. They don't ask questions. What have I learned from what I've seen? What is this all about that I'm looking at? What is this telling me that I've just passed now? We don't question it. What you are training your brain to do is to say, okay, just go and rest. This doesn't matter. You are teaching your brain not to be active. You are teaching your brain to be dormant. So now you skim through, your brain is not thinking, and you keep doing it. That is why it is something that we should be careful about. When you are in social media, you keep scrolling. That is not helping your brain. You are fragmenting it, and you are training your brain to be shallow. You are training your mind to be shallow. So it doesn't process information, and you have too much information that it will even tell itself, oh, rest. When she's serious or when he's serious, I think this thing is not serious. That is how you treat your brain. And with time, it will treat other information the same way. It will treat other things the same way. So don't treat your brain that way. Don't stop scrolling and stop skimming when it doesn't matter. When you look at those things, it's not something that interests you. Don't go watching it. Go. Pass it. If you are going to watch it, ask questions. What is this all about? What is the take home from this? What is it that this is telling me? So ask those questions. So your brain will take notes that this matters and start processing. And as you exercise your brain, as you use it, it will develop, it will improve. That is how it works. But if you pump too much information and there is no time to process it, your brain will just one day to close and just relax. It's not that it's no longer there. What you're suffering when you are going through your forgetfulness now is the, should I say, you are now underusing your brain. When you underuse it, it's going to rest. So wake it up by thinking. Wake your brain up by provoking it to think. Ask questions when you are watching. What is this all about? What is the take home from this? What did I see? And another thing that you can actually do, which I do every day, is at the end of the day, ask yourself, what is today all about? Try as much as possible to remember every hour of the day what you were doing. Try as much as possible. If you can pen it down. Okay, by 7 I was around this place, by 8 I was here. You'll see that some people might even forget, but don't bother. With time, if you keep practicing it, you will see, you start remembering. You even sit down, remember 3 days, 4 days, what happened. That is a way to exercise your brain. It's very important. So if you want to be active, if you want your brain to still be sharp, you want your decision making to be good even in old age, you are a lifelong learner, you are a student, you are a researcher, then a way to go is to always make your brain to be active. Don't over exercise it, don't overstimulate it, don't binge on information because it's not helping you. Give it the rest it needs to process information, and read information deeply, not the volume but the quality. Read deeply when you want to read, and ask the necessary questions. Try as much as possible to recall. If you don't pull it out, it will not stay. So try as much as possible to pull out what you know, what you remember. When you pull out, your brain will know, okay, this matters, this is important. It will store it, it will keep it. So I think we'll end it here today. It has been a good day. We spent, that's 4:27 already. So it has been a good day. Yesterday was good also, and today was good. And I want to thank everyone. Thank you all, everyone that has been here, those that gave their gift, those that supported in one way or the other. Remember that we are here every Wednesday and Thursday from 10 to 4 p.m., 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Unless you receive any notification like today, then you know that yes, it might not hold. But aside that, I will always be here because I have so much to write, I have so much to discuss. And remember, you can ask questions as a student, as a researcher here, and you get answers, especially on how to study, how to improve your memory, which is very important to us. So I will see you again next Wednesday. Thank you for being there.